Stay tuned to meet Advocate Capital client John Zaid. Hi, John. Thanks for being here.
Hi, Mike. Thank you for having me today.
You bet. I know how busy you are, so your time is valuable. So we so much appreciate you taking a few minutes to allow us to ask you about how it's been being an Advocate Capital client. So when you think of your practice before being our client and afterwards, can you compare and contrast that a little bit?
Yes, I mean, I think the biggest and most important thing that Advocate Capital has provided is the funds, the ability to be able to continue to work on several cases and large cases and be able to continue to fund these cases through the line of credit that Advocate Capital has provided to my law firm.
Fantastic. And you've really been growing. That's been very impressive, the results you're getting for your clients back there. Well, sometimes when we're talking to a plaintiff lawyer and they're thinking about being our client, they have some legitimate concerns. And one of them is, will my clients object to the pass-through of interest to the cases? So what's your experience been?
Mike, I've never had one client object. We put it in the contract. We
Yeah.
disclosed it in the final distribution. They're aware that this is part of doing business. And when you end up calculating the amount of interest that you're being charged, it's minimal. It's minimal.
Yeah.
It's minimal. It's not even, doesn't even raise an eyebrow. You guys have been able to not only afford the clients the ability, or my firm the ability, to fund all of these cases, but you've done it in a fashion in which it's a very seamless and very transparent process that allows me and my staff from an accounting standpoint to present it to the clients, my CPA to do the books on it. It's really a great system. I'm beyond impressed with it, quite frankly.
Well, thank you. Thank you, John. That means a lot coming from you because you're kind of a law practice management expert, being an expert in things like growing a practice, being paperless, and things like that. So thank you much for the compliment. We'll be sure to pass that on to our tech team that works on AvoTrack. So I think you made a good point, though, which is it's important to disclose that in your fee agreement so you're not surprising the client at the end, right?
Correct. That's true. So we have the disclosure within the fee agreement that we may and typically do borrow money for it to cover and help with the expenses that we incur along the way on any cases. In some cases, you may incur $100 or $200. In some cases, you may incur $100,000 in expenses. So it really depends on the size of the case, but the disclosure is there. The client sign off on it, and they understand that this is part of doing business.
Yeah, absolutely. Another concern they have, which is legitimate, is, hey, I'm going to be adding some expense to the case for the client. Is this process going to negatively impact the client overall? What's your experience been on that?
So my experience, once again, is when I'm afforded the ability to spend potentially six figures on prosecuting a case and not thinking twice about spending money on an expert or hiring, the appropriate people for the case. In my opinion, the ability to hire those people bring value to these cases, and that's why all plaintiffs' lawyers hire the right experts in the right situations for the right cases, with the understanding that the money that's being expended is only yielding results above and beyond what the money is being spent on those experts.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, in a lot of practices, some law firms end up settling cases sooner than they should, or maybe not investing in this case that needs it this week. They got to put it off till next week or the week after, and we've seen that has a negative impact on those practices. So I think it makes sense. Well, lastly, we're like a bank. We don't loan money to law firms that actually need money, right? We're looking for successful plaintiff lawyers who are already up and running. And one of the first things they say to us is, well, I don't really need the money. If you were talking to one of your friends and they said, how do you do your cases? I use Advocate, and they said to you, I don't need the money. What might you say to them?
I say to them that, the reality of it is if you want to continue to grow your practice, if you want to invest some of the money that you have invested currently in your cases on growth, whether it's infrastructure, whether it's staff, whether it's advertising, whether it's a new case management software, that's where Advocate Capital can really provide a great system that allows you to seamlessly borrow money on a per case basis, pay it back on a per case basis with little to no work, in full transparency for your clients. And the only true way to grow a firm is you must spend money. Some people spend money on advertising, some spend it in the infrastructure, some people are doing new softwares, but the bottom line is the only way to truly grow is you need the capital, and that's where Advocate Capital comes in.
Wow. I can't agree more. So, John, thanks again for being our customer today. All the best to you. I hope you're staying warmer down there in Houston than we are up here in Nashville. We're all freezing today because in the teens we're all freaking out. So,
Thank you very much, Mike. Thank you for having me here today.